Hello, I'm a little bit early today. It is not quite 1:15, but thank you for the people who are tuning in already. I hope you can hear me. If somebody could comment, just to clarify that the mic is working, because I have a new webcam, so trying out something new today. Any comments? Everybody's leaving. Well, I'm just going to assume that it is. I can see the little green light. So welcome. Hi, Angelique. Hello. I assume that everybody can hear me. Yes? It's quiet tonight. Oh, so awkward. Good job, I've got wine. Cool. Thanks, Jordan. So I just wanted to say a really big welcome to my new subscribers. I had quite a lot of new subscribers in the last couple of weeks, which is awesome. And hello to my returning subscribers. It's so nice to see you every time I do this, which has not been for a while, but I'm going to try and do one once a month. I would say is a good amount of time. So we've got a whole bunch of people on now, 9 people. So just before I get started, introduce yourself in the chat section and let me know where you are watching this from, because here in the Netherlands, it is 8:15 now, and it is very dark, and it is Friday night. So yeah, let me know where you're from. The Mighty Mojo is already getting in on the Wally love. Yeah, thank you. I love that one. I got that one from Etsy, actually. Wish I could zoom in on the books. This is actually my to-read shelf. My main bookshelf is all upstairs. So this is all the stuff that I haven't quite got around to reading yet. And I honestly I'm so behind on reading. Anyway, where is everybody from? Costa Rica is awesome. West Cumbria, London, Belfast. Angelique's from South Africa. Flying Falcon, I think you're from America. So we're from all over. That's so cool. Dublin, New York. This is so exciting, guys. I always have so much fun doing these. Right, Georgia, USA. The other thing I want to say is that YouTube has unlocked this feature, which I call the monkey dance feature, which is like the little $sign. So you can basically tip me, and it's the YouTube equivalent of sticking $1 in a stripper's thing, except I'm not gonna strip. So just in case your wallet's too small for your 50s and your diamond shoes are too tight, just thought I'd say it. It helps support us small creators. So we're already going here. Do you know the word tsundoku? No, I don't. It sounds Japanese. Please tell us about that word in the chat. We've got some from Belgium, Hampshire. We are from all over. So I am going to get started with my little stuff. Typically, for those of you who are new, I monologue for an hour and a half, and then try and incorporate you into the chat. I don't know how else I would do a live though, so let me know if you have any ideas for how else I should do these. Oh my god, strip away. This is so fun. Thank you so much. Oh my gosh. I really did not expect anyone to do that. This is hilarious. I'm sorry. I actually haven't drunk that much wine yet. Maybe I should. Flying Falcon, you are very much appreciated. Thank you so much. Oh, yeah, as you can see, I have upgraded my webcam, which is one of the first of many upgrades. So I hope the extra quality will please you all. The Mighty Mojo says, it means getting new books and letting them pile up without reading them. I'm a major offender. Yeah, I go through reading phases. So I will read 5 books in a month, and then I won't read for 3 months. But in my defense, I've been working pretty hard on my YouTube channel. So you guys, I should probably start with the topic now, although we've got 16 people who are still here, so good for you. Flying Falcon is going to start on his, I think it's his, yeah, cannibalism jokes. I mean, if you want people to see them, you just have to pay, right? Just pay for the crowd. I'm kidding. So let's talk about the topic. that we're doing, which is self-care for autistic people. Now, self-care is definitely like a bit of a buzzword at the moment on the sort of Instagram, maybe Pinterest crowd or something. And it's become kind of, well, very commercialized to start with. And it's become all about like indulging yourself in little luxuries that you can conveniently buy from this advertiser. But when we talk about self-care from an autistic perspective, I mean, first of all, there is another meaning of self-care for autistic people, which is the skills that you would teach children with learning disabilities or autism. Self-care as in literally brushing teeth and washing and putting on clothes. That's not exactly what I'm going to talk about, although I will touch on that briefly. Sorry, I'm now getting super distracted. Those of you who are new here will not realize quite how difficult it is to actually talk or monologue and then respond to all the chats and stuff and keep your train of thought going. So please bear with me. I think I'm getting better at it though. So the main reason that I think that self-care is so important for autistic people is because we live in a world that wears us down piece by piece. The world is built by neurotypical people. The world is not built for people like you and I, and I'm assuming that people here are autistic. Not necessarily all of you might be. But the world would be very different if autistic people ran the show. And so it's kind of like a harsh reality for us to live in. And that's why I think that it's something that isn't really touched upon, because care for autistic adults is not really touched upon unless you are sort of specifically institutionalized. So yeah, it's very important that we take care of ourselves because, and I'll get on to because later on. So let's have a few of these comments. Stripper money, cheeky bugger. Am I allowed to say bugger? I don't know. I don't know what I'm allowed to say, I know in the UK there's lots of things you can't say on telly, but I'm not in the UK, so. Sissy O says, for me, it means sleeping and avoiding people. Is that? No, that wouldn't, it would be Sissy spelled differently. Never mind. Hello, Sissy. I don't think I've seen you before. Yeah, I would love to sleep and avoid people. Unfortunately, I made the mistake of like getting married and having a child. And so, that's not really on the cards for most of my life. Self-care is easier said than done, says Angelique. I absolutely agree. I love the idea of taking care of myself in principle, but there are some days go by where, well, this is probably gross, but like I'm literally too tired by the end of the day to wash my face. So I just can't seem to proactively take care of myself before I get to the point where I'm already exhausted, Mighty Mojo's going on a long one. We live in a capitalist post-industrial society. It really doesn't help. Morality and personal worth is judged by productivity. Yes, I will get on to that. Actually, I feel like you've been looking at my notes. So when you look up self-care for autistic adults, which I did, I Googled very briefly, and the National Autistic Society is talking about the basic life skills, which as autistic adults, I assume, who are mostly living largely independently, I assume that we've all managed to learn those skills, even if they took us longer as children, It's harder, though, to learn skills that are related to executive functioning. And by that, I mean that require planning. So realizing that you're tired requires you to, first of all, have an internal sense of I'm starting to get tired before you get to the point where you're passing out. And they also require you to know what you have to do to avoid feeling like that, and then take all the steps to get there. So it's actually quite sort of, difficult thing to plan, and something that doesn't really come naturally to me until I just sort of wear myself out. I get to that point and I'm like, wow, I'm exhausted and I'm on the verge of tears. I'm about to burn out. You know, what happened? So let's see what they say. You lovely people. Interesting. Miranda Andrews says, interesting to me that the things I need for self-care are typically signs of depression. People suggest getting out and socializing, but that's the opposite of what we need. Yes, I agree. And it's kind of indicative of the world that it's like, oh, you're depressed. You don't want to be with us. You don't want to be out socializing. There must be something wrong with you. But we need to recharge. And I think energy is really, managing energy is kind of like a significant step in our self-care. And that's actually the first step that I'm going to go on to. But I mean, I guess the things that I want to cover tonight is sort of like, what do we actually need that is different from the norm? How do we do it? And how do we actually integrate self-care into our lives in a sort of sustainable way that's not just this weekend, I'm going to blow all my money and do this and this and this, and I'll take really good care of myself. But it's like, no, actually, we need something every day, every week. We need to be constantly taking care of ourselves because life constantly wears us down. As some of you from a Facebook group will know, I had a bit of a bad day yesterday. What am I holding? I'm holding a scrunchie. Sorry, is it very distracting? I did have my hair up and then I took it down, so. So let's have a look. Let's see what you guys have said. Someone thinks, yeah, that's why for years I thought I had depression and not autism. Yeah, I haven't really felt like I get depressed now that I recognize that it's not depression, it's autism. 24 and in my own place, I'm still writing out a budget. Hi, Sandy. I've been on all your live streams now. Super fan. 17 years of therapy really convinced me that I was always self-sabotaging. It was my fault in a way. Well, that's the thing, is like self-sabotage it's sort of like we're being gaslit by society that, oh, you don't need that. Why do you need to sleep so long? Why do you need this? You don't need that. You don't need that. And so it's like we can't help self-sabotaging because everybody's telling us, stop being so sensitive, you know, and we've been told not to take care of our needs, not to take care of our own sensory needs, our own energy management needs, our social needs, and all that kind of stuff. So John says, I just need plenty of time to indulge my interests freely. I agree. I am getting to the point where my son is like just old enough that I'm out of that baby phase. And now I'm like, oh, well, I have a child, but I still don't have all the time to be really obsessed with things. And I don't have time to read all the books and all those things. So yeah, it's really tough. It's a tough balancing act sometimes. Cyan Moon says, or Cyan Moon 1 says, also, if you could touch on self-care to recover during burnout, that would be great. If I knew the answer to that, I would be rich. Tonight, it's 3:25. Yeah, well, it is 8:30 here, so I think 8:30 on a Friday night. Okay, right. So let's talk a bit about energy conservation, which to me is kind of like the same as knowing your limits, I guess. And that is kind of a proactive approach to this. That is things like not planning things that drain you. First of all, knowing what drains you and not planning them or spreading them out. Making kind of balanced approach to planning and just being aware of, okay, spending a lot of time in groups with people is very draining for me, but spending time one-on-one with particular friends is energizing to me. For me, I would also say, somebody said you want time to pursue your interests. I would also say that I need to be really careful with doing that because I tend to hyper focus when I'm really interested in something. Maybe not necessarily interested, but if I'm creating something, so if I'm writing or I don't know, doing a website or something like that, and I can hyper focus for so long, and then by the end of it, I'm just like, I'm staring, and my husband will come and talk to me, and it's like I can't switch tasks, and I'm just there. And even though I get a lot done, so it's kind of like, you know, this whole autism is a superpower thing, but it's kind of like a superpower. I can get loads done in a extended period of time, but I am starting to realize that it does have longer terms effect on kind of like burning out. So those are the kind of things that to look out for in terms of, you know, energy conservation. But of course, on the flip side, you don't want to restrict your interests, because then you'd feel unfulfilled in life. So, there's so much going on. I'm struggling. Right. I'm a mother to a toddler and diagnosed last year. I haven't had that much wine, I promise. Diagnosed last year, so I really identify with your content. Thank you. I constantly struggle to manage my energy. Yeah, and I mean, I feel like having a child made me more autistic because it was such a drain on my energy. So, we've got another mother to a toddler and now a newborn as well. Oh my gosh. I will raise a glass to you because I seriously don't know how you would manage. Don't know how you would manage. I don't know how people manage with 2 little kids, like 2 kids under 3 even. I know loads of people do it, but I literally take my hat off to you. I figuratively do it. So, Flying Falcon says, sorry, autofocuses every time I do that. I don't know about anyone else, but interacting with lots of people makes me depressed. I sort of agree and disagree. I think that I can definitely feel really lonely, like in a room full of people and talking to people, but picking the right groups of people can make me feel fulfilled. But I am also, I guess you would call me an extroverted autistic person. Like I like spending time with people if it's the right people. And if the environment is okay, because the environment, if I'm really struggling to hear, for example, I do struggle in group situations like that to process all the auditory information. So yeah, I actually think that probably not in the next month, but maybe a little bit later, I will do a video on being an extroverted autistic person, because I do think I'm extrovert. I like talking to people, just the right people. So let me know if you are an extrovert and if you might be interested in that. Jordan says, I live with the nonsense of needing social interaction or end up depressed, and also needing space or end up overwhelmed. Yes, that's me. That's exactly me. That's what I was saying. Oh gosh, there's so many messages. I'm scrolling. Katrine says, going to therapy was the worst decision of my life. Professionals trying to make me grow my network go out, you know, like a person. Yeah, and I think that that's true. For me, if I spend time with the wrong people, that drains my energy. And if I spend time with the right people, that energizes and inspires me. But sometimes it goes a little too far and I get too excited, and then that drains my energy. Basically, I'm permanently exhausted. But I think there are a lot of us, a lot of you, a lot of autistic people, that any kind of social interaction, even if they like it or not, just drains them. And so this is something that, like, you know, if you're having to work, if you're going into a job and then you have friends or hobbies that you want to see, it can really make it very hard to juggle. And I'm not even sure I know the answer to this. Good job I'm doing a live stream on it, right? I just saw something, energy accounting, recovery time after events. It's very difficult to read this in order, you know. So that was, yeah, talking about therapy. I think that therapy it can be very dangerous for autistic people, because if you don't know you're autistic, they try and push you in a certain way, and that's not always the way that you should go. Or they kind of make assumptions on you and then draw it out. So yeah, I don't know. Basically, there just needs to be a ton more research done on autistic people that isn't like we looked at mice that we put an autism gene into in the lab, and then we put a poo transplant and found out that we could delete the autism in these mice. Because if you actually ask autistic people what they want to know, it's stuff like this, you know, like, does therapy work for autistic people? Sorry, I'm getting excited now. You know, does therapy work for autistic people? Or do we need something else? Or why do we have these problems with energy? Is it physiological? Is it, you know, psychological? All that. So these are kind of the questions that I would love to have answered about autism. I don't know about you guys. Rather than like, oh, could we theoretically cure autism? Or, you know, poo. There's so much research being done with poo transplants at the moment. Like, guys, we don't need poo transplants, do we? You can tell I've had quite a week. This is not the first time this week I've been talking about this, actually. Did an interview with a journalist from South Florida, and I was so tired, I ended up rambling about this very subject. So I feel like I'm just having a little bit of a loop in my head. But let's carry on with some of these comments because they're good. Mighty Mojo says, agree totally with society's, families, friends' opinions about selfishness and self-sabotage. Can't remember what we were talking about with that. So talking about energy accounting, recovery time after events, that's a million times harder when you're a parent, by the way, because I used to do that. I used to go out, I used to drink to not to overcome shyness, but to dull the sensory stuff, because it seemed to help with that. I don't drink as much anymore. But obviously then I ended up sleeping a lot for the next day, you know, spending the weekend recovering or something like that. And then when you can't do that, whether that's because you have a child or whether because you have a job or something like that, that becomes difficult. So actually, I want to know, has anyone ever done energy accounting in a really like writing it on a sheet way or in a spreadsheet? Because that's something that I am interested in and I don't know very much about. It's only just occurred to me to even think about things that drain me and things that don't drain me. I guess I'm slow on the uptake at the moment. Okay, let's get all the comments. John says, I secured my time supply by retiring early, but not everyone is in a position to do that. I think this is coming back to the sort of like capitalist society, and I'm not completely anti-capitalist. I just think that it's problematic for people because there are a lot of disabled people in this world, there are a lot of autistic people in this world, and there's a lot of disabled and autistic people, and measuring people by their productivity is just, I don't think you should be doing that. I don't think that's how we should be treating humans, is to say, well, you have to work for 60 years, no, not 60 years, well, you know, 40 years, let's say, and then you earn a retirement. Because it's like neurodiverse people don't work like that. So particularly me, I've always worked in kind of bursts, and for better or for worse, I've worked in bursts of energy and then periods of you know, downtime and recovery. But you can't do that in a society that expects you to just keep working like a normal person, because as far as society is concerned, you're a normal person, and if you're not, then you're deviant and you're disabled and you're wrong and, you know, you're a burden all of a sudden. So I think the fact that, especially in the US and Europe, the way that you are kind of expected to just keep working and keep contributing, no matter what your situation, is very detrimental to the lives of autistic people. I don't know if anyone disagrees with me on that one. I imagine somebody disagrees. I'd be interested to hear your perspective. Somebody's getting hugs, and I don't know why. Hugs all around, wine all around, yay. Cyan Moon is a lone mother of twin 15-year-olds. Well, that's a very different kettle of fish to my 2.5 almost year old. Flying Falcon says, do the hormones make women more autistic? They make me more pissy, certainly. I don't know. I think they make women appear to have things like bipolar and borderline personality disorder, when really we're just more sensitive to hormones. That's really a topic for another time, though. Or is it? Self-care? Maybe. I was told this week that apparently Pmdd, which is something I also have, is very common among autistic women, but I don't know why, whether it's a sensitivity to hormones or whether it's, genetic or something like that. Rebecca says, I would love to have a small selection of friends who I could meet and chat with, but I've never had a friendship last more than a few years. Oh, where have you gone? You guys have been talking way more. Like, I've been talking and you guys have been talking, and now I've got no idea where we are. I've never had a friendship last more than a few years, and people always distance themselves from me. Yeah, it's really hard to maintain friends, and I've kind of had different friendship groups all through different parts of my life, and it's hard to kind of make things stick. But it's also the world we live in. People are on social media, but they're not very social, and it's hard to maintain friendships these days, I think, for anyone. And for somebody who doesn't really know how to read cues, I think it can be even harder. So let me just double check about where we're going on the. I want to try and stay a little bit on topic. We are talking about friends, and my next point is people management. So talking about being aware of people who drain you and energize you, which I touched on briefly before, but who are we talking to now? Taking Tea with Catherine. That's nice. Is that your channel name? It's a cool name. I'm an introvert, but being autistic doesn't equal introversion. That is very true, because a video I've got planned for next Friday is actually a collab with Indie Andy, and we're doing like the AQ test and seeing what our results are and seeing how stupid the questions are. And I feel like quizzes like the AQ, the autism quotient test, are very stereotypical, and it's questions like, would you rather go to a museum or go to the theater? And that supposes, or go to the library or go to a party, and that kind of supposes that all autistic people are these sort of introverted nerds who just hate people. And I mean, is it a loud library and is it a quiet party? It might be, but I wouldn't necessarily make all my decisions on the basis of sensory. Some of them we have social needs, just particular social needs. So yeah, being autistic definitely does not equal introversion. Corey says, I think my mother is an extroverted autistic, not me, definitely introverted. I mean, you guys are all chatting with me on a Friday night, and like, that's socializing. I'm sorry to say it, but you guys are socializing right now. I'm sorry, I'll just drink my wine. So you can't be that introverted, is what I'm trying to say. No. Miranda says, there's some research that ADHD can be affected by low estrogen, so I'm sure there's a connection with autism too. Yeah, it's very interesting. This is the interesting stuff. It's not interesting to see, well, it might be interesting to see genetic components of autism, but like, the implication is always like, what are we going to do about autism? Not let's just find out more about it because it's really interesting. And my theory is, my sofa theory is that autism and ADHD are not even cousins. I would say maybe they're half siblings or something like that. I think they're two sides of kind of the same coin. But, I'm not a psychologist, apart from in the Netherlands, where I can call myself a psychologist because it's not a protected term, and I have done a psychology degree, so I've just had an upgrade. Stephanie Bethany, hello. I hear there aren't actually kittens for the stream. It feels like false advertising. Yeah, well, it was more like, from the picture, we are the kittens, so it's like we're getting the self-care in that. False advertising. Also, both of my cats are manky little flea bags at the moment, and I'm kind of annoyed at them because I had such a traumatic flea-ridden day yesterday, which I won't tell you guys all about. But if you see me itching, it's 90% psychosomatic, 10% chance that there are fleas on me right now. Really lovely. I am the classiest YouTuber that you have had the pleasure. Mighty Mojo says, me too. Not sure what you're saying, me too, but I talk too much when I'm nervous. All this energy pours out when I'm with people I like. Yes, can be a bit much for some, which is lonely and really self-conscious making. Yeah, and this is why I find that I actually get on really well with people with ADHD, because they had that kind of pouring out energy too. I mean, I still don't know if I have ADHD or not. The way I see it, there isn't really a way to separate it out from autism that is sort of satisfactory, apart from taking a load of amphetamines and seeing if you feel normal or if you feel like you're on amphetamines. But that's not really something that I'm going to be experimenting with my brain chemistry right now. So I don't know. How do you know? Yo, Falcon. Hey, Steph. Yes, stop following me. I love this banter. I love it, guys. Sissy says, I feel tired all the time. It's so sad. I feel like I'm not living my life to the fullest. Yes, I agree. I've had periods of my life when I feel like that. And it almost feels like, I mean, I have all these different conditions like celiac disease and PCOS and all these things. And I go through periods of my life when I'm just so tired. And it feels like a disability in some ways. It feels like I wake up and I can't live my life like this because my body is stopping me. And that's very frustrating. But at the same time, I think, okay, well, what can I actually do now? What can I do to take care of myself? Because we know that a lot of socializing, or the wrong socializing. Oh my God, now I've talked about the fleas. I said I wouldn't talk about the fleas, and now I'm talking about the itching. Damn it, damn cats. We know that socializing, or the wrong kind of socializing, is draining. But what is, apart from sleep, you know, there are many things that you can do to help put yourself in a better frame of mind, and manage your energy, manage your autism, I guess, you know, because that's what this is all about, isn't it? Caring for yourself, caring for all the different aspects of your autism, which is social, it's sensory, it's energy, it's all these kinds of things. Am I just repeating myself? I'm not sure. South Florida is actually New Jersey. I don't know if that's a joke or not. I don't get it if it is. I feel like is that a dig? Is that either a dig at South Florida or New Jersey? I'm not sure. I feel like it could go either way at this point. Please enlighten me. So, Corey says, spreadsheets, energy accounting. I'm not even talking in real sentences. I'm sorry. If someone figures it out, I'd be up to trying energy accounting if I was taught how. Is there an app for this? Is there like a Spoons app? There should be a Spoons app where you can assign values to different things and then push the button and it does. I will patent that and I will release it for you guys because I'm nice like that. I don't know how to write an app, but I will. Oh my gosh, this has been more rambly than usual. I appreciate that so many of you have tuned in. I actually did a lot of filming today. I filmed the AQ video for next week, which is like, in Indie Andy has filmed the same one. So we're gonna like release them at the same time and then compare our results. So yeah, I bet you're interested to see what I got in that one. And I also filmed a Q&A, and I've been editing another video for next week. So you get 2 videos next week, which is an interview with Jen from Waltzing on Waves. She is an autistic or neurodivergent musician. She's got autism and ADHD, and she's releasing her debut album. So it's just kind of like a different interview. But yes, I've been very busy today, which is why, you know, this energy thing, it's like sometimes I do a lot and then I find it very, very hard to kind of come down, as it were. So talking about sensory management, I don't think somebody has just talking about, oh, Stephanie, don't talk about fleas anymore. Hate the idea of fleas. Yeah, it was pretty awful. Like, also, one of my cats is a rescue cat, and you can't pick her up, you can't grab her. So trying to, this cat is now mid-flea. They're all medicated now, but one of them was very jumpy and very difficult to grab, and she's the one that was completely covered, but I didn't realize because she's been hiding in the attic for like 3 days. So stop talking about fleas, stop it. This is all going too fast. You guys are chatty tonight. Oh my gosh, it's somehow scrolled down, so I'm like missing all your comments. This is why you have to super chat me, guys, because then I'll see your comments. I've actually really lost, I've lost track, so I'm just gonna have to skim read. Otherwise, we're gonna be here all night, guys. Oh, we were talking about spreadsheets in an app, weren't we? Yeah, I mean, I suppose you could do it very simply when you're planning out your week. So actually, my planner is right here. I have a planner. And I have taken, I'm just trying to see if there's any sensitive information on these weeks. Oh, no, that's a pin. Yeah, so basically, I plan out my week. You can't really see it, but I plan out my week on Sundays, usually, and I put in all my regular appointments, as in, like, when I do food shopping. I say when I go to the gym, like, I ever get to do that regularly, but I try. I put it in at least. You know, when I have childcare, all these kind of things, taking out the bins, because I always forget that. And then I plan everything around it. And because I color code it, it's very easy to see the spaces. So it's been very hard for me to get into the rhythm of doing that. And I actually do it kind of like a bullet journal. So I write out every week. But actually, putting more effort into planning than perhaps a sensible person might actually makes it better, because once I'm putting the effort in, I have to think about it. I have to think about, okay, I've got a really busy day on Monday, so let's do a really easy dinner. But like planning it out in advance rather than getting into the day feeling overwhelmed and then going, I don't even know what to eat right now. I'm too overwhelmed. So anticipating your needs in advance, which is something that I've never even thought to do, because I'm like, oh, just plow through life and do as much as you can. And I can't do that. I can't keep going on like this, but I can't. And so the time has come to take care of myself more than just having a bath, which I did yesterday, which was the decontamination bath. I'm really sorry. I actually did have like pretty much a meltdown yesterday. So I'm taking care of myself today, recovery from a meltdown, which is kind of another thing. But what was I talking about? The planning out a week, because somebody said, no, I've forgotten. Anyway, so I find that planning it out, it's not exactly energy accounting, but it makes it so easy, and committing to doing that every week has been important. But the problem is that I only do this because I have somebody who comes on Tuesdays and helps me organize my life. And that is paid for by the government here. And so if he wasn't there for a week, I would probably not get around to doing it. So I guess that's what we're working on, is building habits. But, you know, so far, I got this in January or February, and I made it to November. So I've never filled in one of these before. I always buy these and never fill them in. But actually doing this is probably the most, I don't want to say radical self-care, because that sounds douchey, doesn't it? I don't know what kind of self-care. Important. It's the organization stuff is so much more important, especially if you struggle with it. And it's sort of like one of your flaws, as it were. Anyway, let's read some comments, because now, where are we going? We're onto spreadsheets. Mighty Mojo says, yes, with the drinking. Yes, with the drinking. I don't know if that was the spirit of your comment, but I find 1 or 2 glasses of wine really help to quieten my anxiety and sensory sensitivity and help my thoughts flow much better. Thank God I never really want much more than that. Yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty common actually for autistic people to develop drinking problems, especially when, well, for me, I don't even think it was a drinking problem. It was a people problem, really. And alcohol helped with that. So the problem can become alcohol for some people. But I mean, is it hypocritical of me to be talking about the problems of alcohol while drinking wine? No, I think it's fine. But it's very easy for it to escalate because alcohol is very addictive. So I really think that the sensory sensitivity stuff, alcohol helps the sensory stuff way more than you think it would, because that's not what we're usually told about alcohol, because neurotypicals run the world. So we're sort of told alcohol makes you a certain way. And actually, for me, alcohol made it bearable to go to a club where it was so sticky that the walls were wet, you know. And I went to these clubs when I was a student. And the only reason I could bear them was because I wasn't just drinking, I was drunk. I had to be drunk to even exist in these places. And it's only now that I realize why I was drinking so much. Of course, it was drinking culture in the North at university. Like, it was drinking culture as well. But now looking back on it, I can see that it was the sensory stuff. And I don't know, I guess there could be things made with autistic people in mind, like silent discos, I think are a great idea. And actually, that was something I meant to mention, was an Atypical, a new season of Atypical drops. And I think didn't they do an episode where there was a silent disco on there? But I actually thought it sounded like a really good idea. I want to talk about Atypical a little bit later. But yeah, there are so many sensory things involved with being in the world that managing these sensory stuff proactively is self-care. And when I say proactively, I mean, and I'm guilty of not doing this as well, putting on headphones before you get the overwhelm from it's been too loud, it's been too much, the person's been talking at you too long. Managing the sound before you get to that point. Knowing that you struggle with maybe glare at night when you're driving or something. That was something that I thought of last night. I had to go to the dentist after a horrible day, and then I have the dentist. And at night, I was thinking my eyes are really sensitive to these kind of things. So maybe it's worth looking into getting, you know, tinted glasses or something like that for night driving, or for, you know, winter driving or something like that. So I think there's a variety of different ways that we can look after our sensory needs, whether it's sound or, you know, light or whatever. But it's not just about blocking things out. It's also about, if you are a sensory seeker in any way, giving yourself the opportunity to do that, giving yourself permission to stim, finding sensory toys that seem like they're for kids but actually do help you. And that's something that I'm still in the process of exploring. I'm going to be doing a video later about sensory toys and things like that, and like things that are nice for autistic adults. But like, I wouldn't seek that out, because I think, well, like a squishy toy just seems like a toy to me. But maybe these things could be useful. So that was a very long monologue. So let's have a look at some comments now. So we were just on yes with the drinking. Yes with the drinking. Mark Fisher's Capitalist Realism is well worth reading. I'm going to write that one down. That sounds nice. I mean, by nice, I mean, you know, it sounds like it can go on my shelf for a couple of years at least. What is it? Mark Fisher. I like book recommendations, but sometimes reading is I don't think I'm going to read until we get to like December, and then if you don't get any videos in January, it's because I've burnt myself out doing all this stuff. Capitalist Realism, exciting, well worth reading. Steph, that's a message for Steph. Would you ever want to train as a psychologist who works with autistic people? I would like to work with autistic people, but I don't. I did a psychology degree, so I guess I'm just like a master's and a doctorate away from being a psychologist. Just I am happy to be an armchair psychologist. I don't feel the need to. It would depend whether I needed to train for any position, but I do want to work with autistic people. I would rather work. I'd rather work with neurotypical people and get them to understand more about autistic people. I think that's more important. I mean, both are important. It's important to work with autistic people, but, you know, I guess when you say psychologist, you mean like a therapist specifically for autistic people. I think I would find it a big burden is the wrong word, but I think I would find it very heavy on me to deal with people's problems and not take them to heart too much and not carry that with me. And I don't know whether I could do that. I don't know. Miranda says, mothers hugging each other. Ah, hug. Right. John, what have you said? I didn't plan to retire early, but I got laid off from my programming job and surprised to discover that it was feasible to do so, partly by moving to Costa Rica. That's really cool. I would love to visit Costa Rica, and I think it's pretty common to retire there, actually. I don't know. Tell me about it, please. Sign Moon says, I disclosed being autistic to my boss at work this week. For me, this was actually in pursuit of self-care because I love the job, but I will need some environmental accommodations. Yeah, I mean, that is so brave of you. I would be scared to do that. But environmental accommodations at work are probably even more important than anything else because you're like stuck there, aren't you? You know? Yeah, you don't have as much control, so it is more important for you to seek out other people that you can say, this is what I need. The problem is that a lot of the time people don't take you seriously. And it's not always possible to, I mean, if I were to work in an office, I worked in an open plan office that was pretty much a nightmare in terms of the environment. Not the people were fine, but like the fluorescent lights overhead, open plan so you could hear everybody's mundane conversations. And, you know, luckily it was admin, it was very easy work. But if I'd had to concentrate, I wouldn't have been able to do it. But I mean, workplaces are getting worse and worse thanks to capitalism. Maybe. I mean, hot desking. However many of you are in a company that does hot desking, that's not great for anyone, but for autistic people or people with ADHD, like it's terrible. These environments are becoming worse and worse, and that they're sort of, the whole world is becoming, I don't want to say the whole world is going to shit, but it seems like everything is being pushed to make things as unpleasant as possible. I mean, when I used to travel as a child, I used to look forward to getting on a plane because going through the airport and getting on a plane was not the unpleasant experience it is today. I mean, I never even thought about I would need an accommodation, but now I don't fly very often actually because I don't like it and it's sort of bad for the environment, isn't it? But I did fly the other month. Which was the first time in many years that I'd flown, and I got a sunflower lanyard for it. And actually, I realized that I'm not afraid of flying. I don't have a fear of flying. Sorry. But it's everything in the airport. The whole situation leading up to the flight is designed to make it as horrible as possible. It's like, oh, we've made this really, really terrible. What do you want to pay £8 or €8 extra to get slightly more legroom or to board in a slightly more relaxed manner? So this is just one of the examples of like everything in the world is getting harder and harder for everyone, and then the sensory demands on autistic people are just getting more immense. I think it's getting harder to be autistic in the modern world, apart from the fact that you can sit in your pajamas on a Friday night and talk to other autistic people in the world. That is pretty cool. And I just would like to say thank you all for watching as well. This wasn't me going, I'm not going now, but like, I just appreciate that you watch, and like there's 41 people here, which is just incredible to me that so many people are here and you're all chatting, and it's nice. I like it. Thank you. So what are we talking about? Rebecca Spence. I'm definitely sensitive to hormonal changes every month. I found I need to sleep 12 hours the last and first week of my cycle, or I find everyday life almost unbearable. Yeah, the hormonal stuff is really hard and it makes me feel very weak. But at the end of the day, now I'm getting used. Like 2 out of every 5 weeks used to be a write-off for me. Like, not quite bedridden the whole time, but definitely a write-off in terms of getting anything done or enjoying any aspect of my life. So I've learned to manage my pain, managing pain and managing energy and managing expectations, because that's a big one as well. I mean, I'm very ambitious for myself. I want to get on with stuff. I want to do things and accomplish things. And if I don't get the chance to pursue my interests, I get very upset. But then if you don't take care of yourself, you don't have the energy to pursue your interests. So I feel like I am now repeating myself from the beginning of this one, but my brother will be back. He put a screw in his arm. Curious. Are we still? These comments are from ages ago. Stephanie's saying, I hate the idea of fleas. Oh my gosh. It's really, really hard to. It's just updated all the comments, and now I'm actually getting really overwhelmed by all these comments. I love them, but I'm just going to pick out the ones that I can see, because you guys are all chatting. Talking about sensory stuff. Rocking chair and weighted blanket and ear defenders are a good way to decompress. I tried to order a weighted blanket for my son twice, and twice it has not been delivered from Amazon. So don't buy them on Amazon. I think you should. Soon they will be back in stock at Chewy Gem. So I will put them. I'm doing like a gift guide for autistic people to be around, Black Friday, Cyber Monday. I can't remember who it was who did the stripper joke, but I think he might have a screw in his arm right now. So something about dancing for your money, but I want to make like a guide for good things to give autistic people, and definitely weighted blankets are going to be on them. So I hope that Chewy Gem will have them back in stock by that point. Rocking chair, I never thought about that. That sounds quite nice actually, or a swing or a hammock or something. I think that sounds very nice. Right, we've got clarification on the New Jersey thing. So many people from New Jersey and New York go to South Florida. Oh, so it's like a retirement joke. I get it, right? Yeah, okay. John says, I'm going to a monthly gathering of local expats in 40 minutes. Ooh, how local. I've been experimenting with socializing since we moved here. It's interesting, but I still want to keep that limited. Are you local to me? Is that what you mean? I feel like somebody last time I did this was quite local to me. Monthly gathering of local expats. If you are local to me, I even think I know which one you're going to. So that's a bit freaky, isn't it? I'm not going. Bert Single says, I want that app. That sounds very useful. Is that the theoretical app? Hopefully. Right. Listening to certain things to relax, decompress. I have an app called, where's my phone? What's it called? It's called White Noise. I think actually it's one of the few apps I paid for, and you basically, it has a list of, I don't know if you can see this. Is it going to focus? No. Okay, well, you can see each of these little things is a different sound. So it's got Amazon jungle, beach waves crashing, campfire, ocean waves crashing, blowing wind, thunderstorm. There's even a cat purring sound, which my husband is a bit particular about what's played during the night, but typically we have rain noises on at night. But I usually play some of these sounds, different combinations can be quite soothing. Weirdly enough, the one I found the most soothing is boat swaying in water, which is like creaking noises, but it's sort of like rock. Weirdly soothing to me. And I find that really helps. So maybe I think white noise as well, pink noise, brown noise, blue noise, violet noise. Who knew that there were so many different kinds? But I really like that one. It's called white noise, and I got the premium. It's not very much, but I paid just to get the ads off because I didn't want that when I was like sleeping and stuff. So John says, my wife's telling me we need to go. I wish I could say sorry about that. Absolutely fine. Bye, John. I feel like he's already gone. I can see so many comments down. I feel like I'm probably missed this one. Minimalist classical or world music is my jam for winding down. I'd love a weighted blanket. Need some proprioceptive support sometimes, but they're so expensive. Yes, they really are. And one of the things I want to do once the channel makes a little bit more money and it's not just paying out of my own pocket all the time is I want to do a weighted blanket giveaway, because that seems like a exciting thing to do. There's a cat on chat now, Steph. There's a cat. There is a cat. There is also a cat right there, but I'm not going to pick her up and like hold her because, you know, itch, itch, itch. Oh, Stephanie, I went through a planning kick and now I'm back on the just plow through and do what you can because I lack foresight. Yes. Plan your weeks, guys. It helps so much. Helps me so much. Gary, Falcon. Ooh, talking so much. I don't know what a dive planning book is, but it sounds interesting. Does anyone have difficulty getting ready to leave the house? I'm just wondering if I can go through your comments now, if I've said everything that I want to. I might come back to that, actually. Looks like sometimes simple tasks are a drama. Yes. I sometimes have to talk myself into leaving the house. Like, if I'm feeling very, very overwhelmed, I say to myself, okay, you just have to put on your shoes. I feel like it's always the putting the stuff on that gets me. It's like, okay, you have to put on your shoes, you have to wear a coat, you have to get your bag and your car keys and things like that. And so it's like I have to, and then I have to be like, okay, it doesn't matter which order I do things in because I can wear a coat and no shoes, but because as long as I put the shoes on at some point, it's going to be all right. So I when I am tired and overwhelmed, I do get what you mean there. So, and it seems like that's a very simple thing, but I don't know whether it's like I get wrapped up in perfectionism or what. But yes, I do know what you mean. Taking tea with Catherine that says, a glass of wine does wonders for me on a social occasion, but I'm a cheap date. Herbal tea can be good too. Yes, depends what kind of herbs. We'll talk about that later. Flying Falcon says silent prom. I'm guessing you're talking about Atypical. Oh yes, Atypical. New season has already come on to Netflix, I believe. I may be in the minority of people who actually like this show. I think the main character, he's called Sam, right? Yeah, he's called Sam. I think the main character is like a very stereotypical representation of autism. I actually think the show is more critical of like the autism mums than you might think. And the reason I like it is because my pet theory is that the mother and the daughter are both on the spectrum. And I just hope that season 3 is something's going to be made of that, because literally like people hate the mother, but okay, I'm not exactly like her, but I definitely identify. You can see from the very beginning, she does like this. It's purposefully played. It's so obvious to me that she's autistic because she's sitting there and she's doing this when she's nervous, and she's got a very flat, like emotional sort of, what is it called, flat affect or something like that. So anyway, I like Atypical. I find it charming, and probably people will hate me for this, but I do think the main character is kind of like autism Captain Obvious, kind of like they didn't really put much thought into making him a character. It's just autism was his character. So really hope that they go somewhere in season 3. But I like the show, and I'm so glad you guys are watching me instead of like a far superior production. But actually the webcam seems to be nice. The production value has gone up, I think. If only we could do the same thing for me. So are we on? Rebecca Spence says, I used to want to go out drinking all the time, but now I haven't had a drink in over a year. Good for you. And haven't been, sorry, that sounded more sarcastic. I really do mean good for you. Haven't been drunk in years. I have no desire for it anymore because it wasn't worth the aftermath. Yeah, I mean, I slowed down a lot of my drinking because my body just couldn't handle it. Problem is, though, I feel like I like myself more when I'm drunk, and that's awful. And I don't think I'm that much fun when I'm drunk, but I always feel like I'm having such a good time. And I guess it must be, does drinking raise your dopamine or serotonin? There must be something it does to your brain. I feel like the sensation of being drunk it's like a high, isn't it? So it's understandable that we all like drinking. And I'm really sorry if this is like, you could pretend this is juice. But, you know, oh my God, I'm still itching. But yeah, I mean, it's very rarely that I actually get drunk. I just do it sort of as an unwinding thing, along with my other unwinding, you know, things that I'm not going to talk about because I think YouTube might take the video off. Rachel Weisz. Is that the name of an actress? No. Somebody tell me who I'm thinking of. It's Rachel. Yeah, somebody. That's interesting regarding tinted glasses for light sensitivities. Yeah, I know that some people have, like, you know, rose tinted glasses and things like that. It's something that I have been meaning to look into, but I haven't actually got around to, like many things. Trish says, sound sensitivity is my most invasive sensory sensitivity. I've had a bad week of it. My boss is giving me a hard time about my noise cancelling headphones. Sorry, my boss giving me a hard time was the low light. Yeah, I mean, bosses should really be taught how to manage all kinds of people, but they're not. And so try not to let it get to you. I mean, you are doing what you have to do. You know why you need to do it. And people don't always understand. I used to have a friend who was very loud, and she didn't get that when I was flinching at her, the noise she was making, that wasn't like, I hate you and I want you to go away. It was like, you were just literally being too loud for me right now. So people don't get it. But, you know, well, that's why I'm trying to do this stuff on the channel, is to not just appeal to autistic people, but try and educate the wider population as well, because we know how hard it is. Other people don't. Other people think you're being so sensitive, you know, you're being this, you're being that. But it's hard. And you're made to feel like you're sort of complaining. You should just shut up and deal with it. You know, everybody else deals with it. Nobody likes fluorescent lights. Nobody likes noise, but we all deal with it. And I think that's fundamentally misunderstanding just how different the experience of being autistic is. And I don't know how to get that across to people. What time are we on? Oh, we've been at it an hour. And there's still 37 people watching. That's amazing. What are we doing now? I feel like if I scroll down, it's just going to put a whole load more comments and I'll lose my place. I love that more major apps are getting dark mode now. Yes. Oh my gosh, dark mode is so great. Instagram doesn't have it, I don't think. Twilight blue light filter. Yes. My phone actually has, I've got a Huawei, you know, spy phone. And it has an eye comfort setting. So I would really recommend, if you don't know how to, looking in your settings for red light, blue light filter, eye comfort, something like that, because it really, really helps me. And I put my lighting on the phone down way low, and it's just much more soothing. Let's have a look. Alcohol slows down the frontal lobe. Yeah, well, maybe that helps, because I feel like if I'm thinking less, it actually makes it easier to talk to people, because I'm not having to listen to two conversations at once. Soundy. With alcohol, you don't overthink as much, so socializing feels easier. Yeah, What you said, exactly. Stephanie says, I'm working towards getting an occupational therapy assistant degree to work with autistics. That's really, really cool. I didn't know that. I think we need more autistic people to work with autistic people because, as mentioned before, neurotypical people really don't get it a lot of the time. So, yeah, I mean, I would like to work with autistic people. I would like to work with autistic teenagers, but I guess we'll see. I can't. And what's that phrase? You can do anything you want to, but you can't do everything you want to. And that's kind of what I'm going through right now. It's like, what is the most important thing for me to be doing right now? So Rachel says, I volunteer at a therapeutic horse riding center. Oh, that's cool. And working with horses really helps me. They help increase my confidence and a softer touch and easier to understand the people. Yeah, working with animals can be a really great career for people. Itch. Just every time I look at my cat, I'm like, I mean, I love working with animals. I combed the fleas off one of the cats individually and took all the brunt of all them jumping onto me. So I'm sorry. How many times have I mentioned this right now? I was really upset yesterday, you guys. I was really, really upset about this. I was like crying on the phone to a friend, upset, which I don't do. I'm not that sort of person. So yeah, horses. I wonder what you do when you say therapeutic horse riding center. I'm interested to know more whether that's like what kind of people go there to, you know, be therapied. Like what sort of therapy is it? I'm interested in that. Airplane, you should try spinning. I'm not sure. Julie says, what is hot desking? Oh, I'm glad you asked. So hot desking is basically where it's like musical chairs. It was invented to like increase productivity in the 90s, and it went so badly that even the people who invented it were like, oh, sorry, this was actually a terrible idea. It's basically where you don't have your desk, you just have blank desks, and every day you come in with your laptop and sit at the desk, but you sit at whatever desk you can find. So businesses love hot desking because it's like, oh, we can save a whole bunch of money this way. Everybody else hates hot desking because sometimes they don't have enough desks for people. My husband worked in a place and it was like 2/3 capacity they could have. So, but it was also like they were funny about you working from home, but you can't have both, can you? Like, so hot desking is really just, and typically they're all kind of open plan in the same area. So it's like a combination of open plan and the uncertainty of where you're going to sit every day. Just a complete nightmare, really. I'm really way behind on these comments on what I've been saying. So it's already scrolled down now. I feel like this is exactly why you need the stripper super chats so that I could actually keep up with what you're saying. OTs are perfect. Oh, OTs are perfect for autistic adults. I don't know why more professionals haven't realized this. I actually don't know that much about occupational therapists. I guess I don't know whether that's sort of like the person who comes to help me is sort of an occupational therapist. I don't know because it's called something different in Dutch. So begeleider, which is like mentor. So I don't know. As always, when we get to over the hour point, my ramblings start to make less and less sense, which I'm sure is all part of my charm, right? Corey says, it does feel like the whole world is being pushed to be as awful as possible. It really does, doesn't it? It's like, why can't we go the other way? Why can't we? Because we don't make money off it. You make money off making people miserable, and then when they're miserable, you can sell them stuff to make them less miserable. That's how it works. So she says, preparing a gift guide that I hope you will buy stuff from. Oh man, you guys are gonna like my content for the next few months though. I've got some really exciting things coming up, so you'll enjoy that. Open space, blah 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 blah. Thank you, heart emoji. Still talking about OTs, and I'm feeling a bit silly because I don't know what they are really. Gary Francis says, it took 15 minutes to read my comment. I'm really sorry, Gary. There are a lot of comments. It's really, really hard to talk, read the comments. And when there's more comments, then it jumps down and then it has this arrow saying, oh, like read the new ones. And I push the scroll wheel. Anyway, Julie says, hello, Sam. I was recently diagnosed at 55. Wow. And your videos have been a godsend. Thank you for making them. I also can't help noticing the teaspoon on the shelf behind you. Spoon theory much? Yeah, I didn't think about that. It's actually, the book is called The Silver Spoon. It's like a compendium of Italian recipes that, of course, barely gets touched. But I would love to, in theory, I would love to make food from the book. But it's kind of nice. It's like spoonies, isn't it? Yeah. So thank you for commenting, and I'm glad you got your diagnosis. Like, it's never too late, I don't think. Katrine says, Sensor Life is a Dutch company that delivers custom weighted blankets. I actually was on the Sensor Life website, and I was just like, I really can't justify spending 200 euros on a blanket right now. I can't. I'm not at that point in my life. But everybody, pretty much everybody that I've spoken to about them says weighted blankets are amazing. And I'm sure they would be. But boy, they're expensive. And the cheap ones from China, as discovered, mostly don't turn up at all. So weighted blankets, I wonder what it is about weighted blankets that the deep pressure must be something. It's got to be something neurological for autistic people. But what? Does anyone know? Angelique paused the live stream, so we'll be way behind. Well, you're not further behind than my comments, so don't worry. Alan says, gotta go. Catch you on the flip side. I'm sorry it's taken me so long to say goodbye to you. That's the sound of an old sailing ship. Right. My youngest is up for a nap. Gotta go. Oh. I mean, I hope, because if it's 9:30 at night where you are, then that would be like, but cool. Gary said, you've seen 2 episodes of Atypical. Is that season 3? I hope that it's good. You say epic. Yes, I enjoy it. Dynamic Day says, is it that many with autism like water, that you like the sound of the water against the boat? Just a thought. I do like water sounds. I really enjoy them. I wonder what everyone else thinks. Stephanie says, I like it as well. Season 2 is way better. Yes. I guess we're still talking about Atypical here. Alan is back on a different device. Cool. Stephanie says, I'm wondering if they were going to say the sisters on the spectrum. Season 1 was crap, but I like how they basically mocked the person with autism crap. Yeah, I think that Atypical is like basically far more on the ball than maybe it's given credit to be. I think that, especially with her autism moms group, I think there is quite like a heavy irony in the writing. Maybe that's just what I want to see. I want to see a show that sort of makes fun of various aspects of autistic culture and life and autism culture and life. But, it's been a while since I watched it, so I guess I will start up with season 3. And I know that there's been a couple of other channels that have done like reactions to the trailers and discussions. I'm not very good at talking about that sort of stuff, apart from like, on a Friday night with you guys. Message retracted. That's very secret government stuff, isn't it? Miranda says, now that my husband is done with parental leave and I'm a stay-at-home mom, I'm planning out everything for a week. Clothes, PJs, meals, options for activities. Yeah, it's so much to plan. And people think being a mother is easy, then they obviously don't know what they're talking about. But being a mother with executive functioning issues is really not easy. There is so much planning, so much more than I would have thought. Now, this isn't actually a second glass of wine. This is water. Steph just wants a female autistic on TV. Yeah, it would be lovely to have a female autistic on TV. I'm watching Bones at the moment, and like, she's pretty much autistic. She's actually, I think she's quite a lot like me, and definitely she's like how other people might see me, as in if they don't see me all sassy here on my channel, if they meet me in real life, I think that the, what's her name, Dr. Temperance Brennan is how neurotypicals might see me. So I do relate to her a lot. I think she's a good female role model. But it would be really nice to see more female autistic people on telly. Oh, got the heating thing up my bottom now. Stephanie Bethany says dopamine. I have absolutely no idea what that's in response to, but dopamine. Right, we're talking about atypical. Let's not talk about atypical anymore. Julie says alcohol is an anxiolytic. Anti-anxiety? I don't know what that means. Sorry. Oh my gosh, it's just updated. Do you know what? Oh my god. I've just got a whole bunch of spam from this guy called Bob that I'm just gonna ban. How do I ban someone? I've never had to ban someone before. Remove. You really want to spend my time removing all these things? Put user in time. Hide user on this. This user's messages will be hidden. Okay. That was exciting, wasn't it? Instagram just got dark mode. It's lovely. I will try that then. I wonder if they seem to only roll out certain features in certain geographical areas. So Patty says, I just tuned in, go another hour. I don't think I can. I think I'll be too drunk if I carry on. No, I'm kidding. Blah, 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 blah. What was I on? Dopamine. I was on dopamine. Stephanie says, idea of drinking scares me because I hate being or feeling out of control. I actually don't feel when I drink I get out of control. Like, okay, heavy drinking, sure, but like generally I don't. It's just like turns everything off in here. Rebecca says, blaze it. I'm not sure what you're talking about though. Dan from Aspewell was asked by Netflix to give his opinion. So he said after the first season, Sam needed more of a character to him for the second season. Yeah, I agree. I'm not really sure they gave him that much more of a character for the second season. We're still talking about atypical. Let's stop now. Let's go. CQMI says, off now, good talk, cheers. Cheers. Bob got very excited with his anti-Semitic comments there, so that was very exciting. I thought... I'm reading Julie's comment. I swear I thought it said I work in a strip club. I'm like, that is a pretty bad sensory environment. We were talking about sensory environments, weren't we? It's been almost an hour 20. I'm like, first of all, I'm really surprised that like so many of you are still here. That's really cool. But also, you know me. I start to lose track and lose the plot, and then I just read the comments and get confused. So Katrine says 200 euros are the cheap weighted blankets, sadly enough. There are cheaper ones. And Trish says weighted blankets are worth every cent. It's just a bit, maybe they should do some sort of payment plan for weighted blankets, or like a rental service. No, that's gross, but like, you know what I mean? Like spreading the cost. I've seen blankets for over 500 euros. Ouch, 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 ouch. Proprioception. Thank you. That's the thing with the weighted blankets. Deep pressure, sensory feedback, all these kind of things. Stephanie says, one day I will have a more scientific explanation. I'm not going to say it. You know what it is. You know what it is. Itch. I'm sorry. I'm really gross today. I'm so sorry. Pressure. Yeah, but the thing is, though, what is it about the pressure why is it that autistic people respond? It's just a hair. It's just a hair. It's not fleas, I promise. Why is it that autistic people respond to the deep pressure? What is it that, if there is something that makes us different from other people on a physical, neurological level, why are we not measuring that? Why are we not researching that? Those are the important things. Those are the things that are going to improve our quality of life. But yeah, I mean, it's like, I know that there is a synaptic, poor synaptic pruning theory of autism, but, clearly it is not just a brain thing. It's not just a brain condition. It's affecting the whole body. There are so many comorbids, which is probably going to be my next live because a lot of people voted for that one as well as this one. You know, autistic people struggle with so many things within their bodies, as well as all the stuff going on in their heads. So this is the kind of research that I'm interested in, actually. So spoiler alert. Oh, we've got another. Oh my gosh. I'm trying to scroll. It's just, sorry, it's really jumping. Blanket rental, ew. Yeah, I know. I said it before I thought about it, you know. There are also those, like, instead of weighted blankets, those, I don't know what they're called. They're basically like sheets that pin you in, which sounds terrifying to me. And I hate that when you go to hotels and they wrap the sheets so tightly and pin you in. But some people might like that kind of pressure. So they do have a rental service for weighted blankets in Belgium, so you can try them out first. That's interesting. I would not rent it right now because I don't feel like I would trust my house not to. Oh, guys. I have cleaned my house so much in the past 24 hours. It is probably cleaner than it's ever been just because of my anxiety. I can't read it because it's flickering all the comments. Patty says she likes weighted blankets because it feels like I'm getting a hug, but doesn't come with the weird social emotional confusion. And Stephanie says apparently some studies showing not only CNS, which is central nervous system, but PNS, which is the parasympathetic nervous system, being affected in autistics. I think it's parasympathetic. I'm not sure. It's really interesting, though, this whole mind-body connection. And I think that I keep on saying that we should do research. We should all do research right now in our living rooms. Compression sheets. Yeah, I think they're all, no, they're called not compression socks, body socks. I think they're called body socks. Somebody Google that. I don't think I can open a tab right now, or I can, but everything's very carefully balanced. I think they're called body socks. I'm not sure. Draconica? Not sure. Hello. I'm happy to see you too. Gary says, I like the idea of autism and other conditions. It's a good idea. Yeah. I was kind of, I was a bit nervous about doing that because I don't know a lot about the other conditions apart from, like, well, celiac disease isn't actually related to autism, but gluten intolerance is. So that's, like, I know a lot about that, but I know some about ADHD, but so it was like I did want to talk about autism and all the other conditions, but I don't know. I sort of am a bit of a perfectionist. I feel like if I'm not an expert on something, then I shouldn't talk about it, which clearly nobody else on the internet has that problem because there's so much crap. But, you know, I'm like, oh, I need to be qualified and an expert on the matter to talk about it. But no, we can just talk about it. So I think that will be the topic for the next one, which will be in December. And I was also toying with doing like a Christmas live, like if people have family and need to escape on Christmas Day, they could come and watch my live. I don't know. I'll be escaping my family. I'm kidding. They'll probably be around, but yeah, I don't know. Let me know if you might like, or if not Christmas Day, like over the Christmas vacation period, because I know that that's something that people struggle with a lot. Family expectations, social expectations, all these kind of things. So let me know if you would like that, and I will try and plan, and I'll try and do 2 more lives this year. Cannot believe it's November already. So Flying Falcon says, Steph, you're a big nerd. Yeah. Stephanie said peripheral nervous system, of course. What am I thinking about parasympathetic for? Peripheral, like the side bits. Cyan Moon said, tried to buy you a Super Chat coffee, but don't think I went through. I'm probably doing it wrong. You know, I have no idea. You press the little button with the dollar sign, and then select your amount. Ask, I think it was Flying Falcon. He might know. Roy Trees says, I have autism. Hello, can I be moderator? What do you mean moderator? I'm running this chat. It's my chat. You be moderator in your own chat. I don't understand what's going on. Right, Patty says body socks. Yes, they're called body socks. So they're basically like sheets that pin you into your bed, which I don't like, but some people might. But yeah, weighted blankets are very, very expensive, but I will probably, maybe I'll ask for one for Christmas from like everyone. Everyone. All of you guys are buying me a Christmas present, right? Steph, you can be called in. Why am I talking like you guys are having a conversation and I'm narrating this conversation? It's a bit strange. Flying Falcon has an awkward boner. Cool. I think maybe like it's starting to get time to wind it down. Wind it down. Bert says, I'll be here every day for the holidays. Sounds so much better than anything else. Yeah, I think it would be nice. Like, even if it's just like, you know, a cheeky half hour on Christmas Day to be like, okay, so how are we all doing, guys? Because I feel like it can get very overwhelming. My Christmas is actually going to be really chill, which is why I wanted to do the live. But I've definitely had Christmases where I just need to go and take myself away and put myself in a room just to, you know, be quiet. My little flea bag's woken up now. Okay. I don't know if you can hear her itching right now. I'm really sorry. I'm like, you know, you guys are autistic. You understand what it's like to get something in your head and you just cannot stop. You can't stop going on about it. And I know nobody wants to hear about my, you know, my cat. You want to see my cat, but I can't because I can't turn the camera around. Actually, no, I can turn the camera around. I just can't turn my laptop around. Hold on, let me see if I can do this. You can see my cat. There we go, kitty. Stop. This is the less responsible one. She's the slightly more tolerable one at the moment. The other one's the one that's completely. Oh my gosh! Somebody's got a big old green thingy. This is so exciting. Mighty Mojo. Oh, thank you so much. You could maybe do a sort of fun list video about great likely autistic characters in movies and TVs. I have one of those actually, but I am compiling a list for a second one. So that's a really great suggestion. And I will try and do that one maybe in December because everybody's watching loads of TV and movies in December. I do anyway. Thank you so much. That's really, really sweet of you. Oh my gosh, you guys, it's really like, I might actually be able to get some softbox lighting because at the moment for filming my videos, I'm relying on like, there's overhead lighting. At the moment, there's a lamp in front of me. But if I'm filming during the day, which I generally do when I want to actually have a brain to function, I'm relying on natural light, and living in Northern Europe and it's coming into winter, there's less and less natural light. So thank you so much, the Mighty Mojo. I really, really appreciate it. And I just appreciate all of you guys. There's still 37 people watching me for an hour and a half. How long can we carry on with this? It's 9:45. I'm not even feeling tired now. I'm just feeling like I'm feeling very loved, you guys. I've just seen a comment. I found an autism body steamroller. I don't know what that is. Roy says, I have ADHD and autism. I need help. I've been struggling with school and I don't know what to do. I'm really sorry. I cannot be your therapist right now, but I would say search for your specific struggles on YouTube because there is a lot of stuff like that. I really, really like it. She was one of the first channels about like this whole thing that I found, How to ADHD. What's her name? Jessica. She is really great, and she has ADHD. She doesn't have autism. I think the Aspie World's done some things with her, so they have talked about that. It really depends what you're struggling with school, though, because I can't answer your question. I'm really sorry that I can't help, but I don't know what your struggles are. So if you let me know, then maybe I will do like an executive functioning video on it if you want. Stephanie enjoys my narration. Thank you. I think Flying Falcon's having a conversation with someone else. I don't understand. Right. Oh, I know why. It's because, oh my God. The chat's gone crazy again. It's taking me so long to get these comments. I'm really sorry. This is like, it's not even live anymore. It's like delayed chat. I'm sorry. What a crock. That's a very American thing to say, isn't it? The parasympathetic is part of the peripheral under somatic, I believe. I guess this is what occupational therapists learn about, because I don't know. Let me get some water. I've been talking for an hour and a half. So who wants to know what books are on my shelf? Ooh. I would say I am about a third of the way through The Goldfinch by Donna Tartt, and I really like that one. One of my favorite books is The Secret History. I do like The Goldfinch. I think it's very well written, but man, she needs an editor to like cut that out. I think it's 800 pages long, so no wonder I haven't even got through it. So, oh, so Mighty Mojo, thank you. Same on being here for the holidays. Lack of routine kills me. Yeah, okay, I'll do a holiday live then. That will be fun. And we can all wear Christmas jumpers. I can't see you, but I will know that you're wearing Christmas jumpers, because that seems festive, right? And a hat. I'll wear a Santa hat. Mighty Mojo says, or storylines that are particularly insightful or inspiring for our experiences as autistic. Yeah, they don't necessarily have to be autistic characters, but they could just be inspiring. Do you know what? The first thing that came to mind was that I've got the Book of Dust on there that I haven't read. I ordered it 2 years ago and still haven't read it, but I really want to. But I also have a lot of other books to read. But I think that what's it called? The Philip Pullman, the Northern Lights trilogy. I found that very inspiring for me as an autistic person, also as an atheist, but you know, and so I kind of get what you mean about like stories that are insightful or inspiring for, you know, our particular experiences. I don't think that her character is supposed to be autistic. It's been a while since I read that, but and I don't necessarily think that Philip Pullman is either. But I just think that the way it's written and stuff like that, I think there are a few different things that autistic people tend to be drawn to. That might be one of them. Stephanie says, Kitty. Roy says, no one listens to me because I have autism and ADHD. That's really sad. And I'm really like, it's difficult to know whether it's like other people being shite, which is very believable, or if it's like people don't know how to listen to you. They don't know how to extract meaning from what you're saying and put it in their terms. It's hard though, and I understand the struggle. I was at school and like I was miserable a lot of the time, so you know, it's tricky. Gary says, oh gosh, what's going on? What is the best Sonic game? Alan says, ta-ta for now, gotta go crash. Night-night. Night-night, sweetheart. Mighty Mojo, because you're adorable, darling. Oh, sweet. Darling. I feel like I should be... No, I'm not going to say that. I don't even know what I'm saying. It's been an hour and a half. I have got stamina, guys. Your videos are so intelligent, insightful, and have been hugely encouraging for me. I'm so glad. And oh, Cyan Moon's just sent me. Thank you so much, Cyan Moon. It's really, really appreciated. And trying again, there's no need for that face because it worked. Noah says, joining late, forgot the time. That's okay. I'm still here. Right. Have I almost caught up with the comments? I'm so excited. I think I have. Can autism and ADHD people go to non-ADHD academies or anything? Of course. Of course. If you mean like non-mainstream education, then absolutely. It's just a question of finding somewhere that will accommodate your needs. But it really depends on your particular difficulties. Sorry, I've got something in my eye. If you have additional learning needs, it depends what country you're in and what the system is. So it's very hard for me to answer this question. But like, so many people I know, so many autistic people I know went to mainstream education. I went to mainstream, well, not even that mainstream, weird education. So yeah, I don't really know how to conclude this, but like, I'm really sorry that you're struggling. It's hard, and it sounds like if you're still at school, like, it's really hard to be young, and it's really hard to be young and neurodiverse when everything about being a teenager is about like being the same as everyone. So Flying Falcon, is that another one? This airplane gave me the boner. It confuses me. Well, I'm glad that confusing planes gives you boners. Which boner were we talking about? Oh, was this the ironic one? I don't know. Roy Trace says, I subscribe. Cool, thank you. And please let me know if there's like something really specific that you want to know the answer to, like a specific executive functioning, doing school. I just recorded a Q&A where somebody asked me about like tips for avoiding overwhelm at school or sensory overwhelm, and maybe I could do something about sort of what I wish I'd known when I was at school about schoolwork or something. I don't know. Let me know what you think. That might be a nice idea. Taking Tea with Catherine says, I couldn't deal with Goldfinch, though I know it's supposed to be good. The whole thing that happens in the beginning, too close to home. Yeah, it was really, literally, I mean, I guess if you say that, you might be from New York area. Well, I don't know, actually. It reminded me a lot of like 9/11, and it was I was crying in like the first, I don't know, 10% of the book. It was very, very emotional. I think the way that Donna Tartt writes is extremely good. It's just like her words are so tasty. But I can really understand why people might think that it's a hard book to get through, like sort of emotionally. Right, let's talk about. Roy said, the way they talked to me made me think I had no friends. The education of my primary school is good, but then they put the work a little bit too hard. Message retracted. So I'm not sure. Can you tell me where you are, Roy? Because that might help in answering your question. Any tips for finding your tribe as an autistic adult? Hang out with other autistic adults or people with ADHD, or I don't know. I may seem very cool and funny and awesome, but like I don't really have a tribe. I don't want to say I don't have any friends, because I do, but I definitely don't really have people that I see really regularly, because I don't have time, because I have a small child as well, so I don't have time to just go and hang out with people. The people that I do see tend to be other mums. Finding your tribe as an autistic adult, I don't know. It's a hard one, isn't it? Sorry, my husband's just come downstairs, so it's like he's sneaking around like a little ninja. Finding a tribe as an autistic adult. For me, I use the internet and social media groups, Facebook groups. There are a lot of good Facebook groups. Someone told me Reddit, but I feel like Reddit might be a bit combative for autistic people. I don't know. If anyone knows a good subreddit for autistic people, please let me know. Mighty Mojo says, apologies for the profusity of comments. No, you don't need to apologize. Oh my gosh. I don't usually do live chats. This has been so great, guys. Thanks. Oh, I'm so glad you enjoyed it. I feel like I'm just rambling on, which I suppose I am, but it's really nice. I actually really like the format of just chatting about whatever on a topic, and then you guys also talking to each other. It's just really nice. Dave says, thanks for all the wonderful videos, very helpful and informative. Thank you, Dave. That's really kind. I told Steph she can be a nerd when she does something like sit in a P61 and squeal, she's so pretty. Okay. This is like a special interest, am I right? You like planes, do you? You like planes? Right, Roy is, I love the work they put on me, but then I thought the work is here, but I lie and saying it's not hard when it is. I don't really know what to say to that. I think you just have to be honest with yourself, and you have to be straightforward, and that's really hard when you're at school. And the work is, it really depends on where you are, but certainly when I was at, sorry, I'm just laughing at I love airplanes. Yeah, I got that. When I was at school, it was a big workload. So it wasn't actually hard. I didn't find the subjects hard, but the management of it was hard, and I was very bad at getting homework in on time, and I frequently felt like I couldn't cope. And the way that what I did, I just pushed through, and I used adrenaline, I guess. I used adrenaline to complete work and churn out stuff and do it to the best of my ability, because I'm panicking now and I need to really, really focus. But that's how you make yourself ill. That's how you make yourself burn out. And since we're talking about self-care, it sounds like you do need to take care of yourself and say, okay, well, if you find the work hard, then ask for help, or ask for accommodations, or whatever you need to do to take care of yourself, rather than pushing through and then saying, well, like, why am I so depressed and anxious because I've just pushed through for an entire semester or something like that. So I hope this is helpful. I don't want to be too much like a therapist, because it makes me feel like, oh, I'm telling you what to do, or I'm giving you advice, when like we're all just fumbling through life, aren't we? Roy says, the autism makes me lie and I struggle with my lying. How does it make you lie? It's just annoying. I think I should stop school for a little bit, but I don't think I'm allowed to. The autism also makes me have anxiety. Well, it's not just autism that gives you anxiety. It's the world around you that gives you anxiety. Well, I'm talking in the general here. We're all a product of the world we live in. And this is the thing. It's I'm pretty sure there's a meme somewhere. Before you call yourself depressed, check that you're not actually just surrounded by assholes. And that's true. And you can take that to another level. And like, before you diagnose yourself with anxiety, make sure that you're giving yourself what you need, and you're not pushing yourself to do things that are inherently sort of anxiety provoking. But I think I'm going to have to stop giving you like wise wisdom from my advanced years right now, because I don't want to I don't want to be anyone's therapist. I don't want to give anyone advice, and like, there's a bit of a line there, and I'm a bit, I don't know. No, this isn't the fleas. This is just me now. Mighty Mojo, Flying Falcon, you made me think of I Like Train song, and now it's stuck in my head. Let's not talk about train song, okay? I have a 2-year-old whose special interest is singing certain songs over and over again, including a train one, and now it's in my head, so thank you. Figure out why you lie. Don't blame the autism. Yeah, I think so. And I used to lie a lot when I was a child, and I don't really know why, because it was like just to see if I could get away with it, I guess. I didn't lie about important things. I just occasionally just thought it'd be fun to lie and see if I could get away with it. But then I know the why, because I wanted to see. So I guess, yeah, figure out why. Gary, is Amsterdam as wild as they say? Amsterdam is very commercialized and commodified right now. Wild, I mean, if you can pick through the crowds of tourists, it has become a little bit like Barcelona and Venice in that it has become a city of tourism and residents are being pushed out. This sort of Airbnb phenomenon. Now you've got that in your head, everybody. I guess it depends where you hang out. It can be. I mean, if you think if taking drugs is wild, then I guess there's a lot of drug taking in Amsterdam. You know, prostitution is, I guess it's legalized. I'm not entirely sure what the legal status is. So you get stag do's coming from all over. I don't go into Amsterdam that much because it's kind of a nightmare. It's kind of a sensory nightmare. There's people everywhere, and it's very, you know, there is some areas of shopping which is also full of people, but the main areas right in the center of Amsterdam, Damstraat and all that area, it's just tourist shops. It's like, oh, cheese, but it's not like good cheese. It's just tourist cheese. So no, I don't think it is as wild as they say. I feel like Amsterdam in the 70s is probably way more fun than it is today. But I'm not really a city person anyway. I like a bit more space and a bit more quiet. I'm not really a country person either. So I guess I'm in the suburbs. That's convenient, isn't it? Advanced years, you're not old. Yeah, I know. I was making a joke, but it's also because somebody on another live stream was just like, "You're old." So I was also making a joke that no one else would get, which is sort of my MO. Casey Earth Kid, that's a very hippie-ish name. I really enjoyed your parenting while autistic video. I'm not much of a kid person, chose not to be a parent, but I'm in my phase one of my midwifery apprenticeship. I absolutely love that word, midwifery. Good stuff, thank. Oh, cool. Yeah, I mean, like, if you don't want to be a parent, then, and you're autistic, like, don't be a parent just because you really got to want to do it. And even then, no, I'm kidding. It's all right as long as they sleep. It's when they don't sleep that I find it really hard. But yeah, I think there should be more, if not autistic midwives and doulas and things like that, but, you know, well trained in dealing with autistic people. And I think that I would really, next time I go to hospital, if I should have another child or if I go to hospital, I would really want to talk to them about autistic accommodations. But that is really another subject that I'm not going to get into. Mighty Mojo says, "Nya moi do 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 do," which I guess is like a train song. Flying Falcon says, "Is it as bikey as they say?" Yes, it is bikey. It has also got a lot of scooters. Yes, it's very bikey. But even out where I am, it's bikey. It's just basically like in the 70s or maybe in the 60s, there were a lot of deaths on the streets in Holland. A lot of child deaths. People were getting run over, and so there was this huge grassroots campaign of like, our children need their freedom and their space, and that's basically how the Dutch cycling thing came upon. So like in the 60s or 70s, you know, they obviously invested a huge amount of money in infrastructure for bike lanes, and then it just kind of stuck. And now it's basically like, you know, if I drive in the mornings because, well, I'm lazy, but I also get very tired from walking. So, and I'm not so confident on a bike, but like school kids will go to school on their bikes. Kids don't go to school in the car. Nobody takes their kid to school in the car here. It's like, even if it's raining, they go to school on a bike, like, you know. So it's just a very different culture. It's good though. I mean, it's good because it's less polluted, but no. Tourist cheese. I'm glad somebody else liked that. We've got another nyam nya do do do. I don't know. Is that like? I don't know what song that is. It's not Baby Shark. That's what I've got in my head at the moment. 1970s, I want to go there, already have the bike. I feel like I would have done pretty well in the 70s. I mean, there are certain downsides, of course. I do like the internet. I do really like it. But I think there are aspects of the 70s that I would have very much enjoyed. Roy says, I don't like when I go on live streams on YouTube and no one listens to me about autism. Thank you for listening to me. Well, you're welcome. I'm sorry that I couldn't be of more help. I feel like when someone asks me a question, they actually need my help. I don't know what to say, but I hope some of the others have answered your questions as well. There's still 32 people watching. I am so impressed. If you could all do me a big favor and hit this like button, because you've clearly got value out of this content, but just like tell YouTube's algorithm that this was good, this is awesome, and my live streams rock. The Muppets people. Oh, the Muppets. Oh, you're going mana mana. Do 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 do. That's what you're saying. Anyway, I think it is now past 10 o'clock where I am, which means it is my bedtime. Well, it will be my bedtime by the time I finish this, which, like, this is how far I get on one glass of wine in a live stream. It's not exactly heavy drinking because I'm talking too much. Muppets people, yes, Muppets. Cycling is easy unless you're out of shape, or unless you've got knees that hurt, or unless your balance isn't very good. I struggle with balance. Like, I actually struggle way more with cycling and speed perception than I do with driving. I find driving much more, well, easier in some ways and like more comfortable from a sensory perspective. But cycling, I really enjoy cycling when it's warm, but not in the winter. I'm a fair weather cyclist. Julie says, thanks, Sam, and everyone for being here for the stream. One of the most dramatic weeks of my life. Oh, I'm sorry. And having you all to listen to helped me get up from my meltdowns and clean up the kitchen that is shambles. Well, I am really glad that it helped you. And I really appreciate that you came to listen and to watch and stuff. Roy says, you gave me help. You helped me check other websites. That's good. If you need any help, just like put some comments down. If you want a particular video, I will try and do something on a particular topic. You're always free to suggest things. I also have an Instagram, which is at yosamdysam, that you can follow me on. And if you do, I don't post the pictures much because like the algorithm or whatever, but like I do stories and just, it's not very interesting, but sometimes I post updates about YouTube and videos and ask me questions for my Q&As and things like that. So if you like that kind of thing, do follow me there. You've all given me thumbs up, so that's awesome. Thank you. Balance and knees. What's your knowledge on autism and gender identity? Whoo, let's do them another time, shall we? Stephanie's off. Great hanging out. Dropped a like. Thank you, Stephanie. That's so kind of you. Thank you so much, everybody, for watching. I don't do live streams every Friday, no, because I usually do my videos on Fridays. And so this week I was like taking a week off, so I did a live stream. I'm doing them once a month, but I'll do two in December because I'm doing one at the beginning of December, and then I will do another one around Christmas so that we can all escape from our stressful family lives and come and wear jumpers and things. So just like stay updated on the channel, and I'll make sure that you guys know when that is. Casey Earth Kid says, so glad I caught the end. You're a friend even though you don't know it. Oh. Rest up, and hello from Kansas City, Missouri. Missouri. Where's that from? Is that South Park? I don't know. I always think of Missouri when someone says Missouri. Julie, do you say we have a Facebook page? No, I don't have Facebook. Well, I mean, like a personal one, but don't add me on that. I have Instagram. I didn't put a Facebook page on for various reasons. So thank you so much for watching, guys. I will see you soon. Bye-bye.